he was in action last night after his initial just dazzling first game, came back down to earth a little bit. Mark Spears, let's take a look at exactly what went down here, because he was kind of given all that he could handle, Richard.
Yeah.
Ooh.
275 pounds. That's more to handle than most NBA players. Me and Matt right now, I'm 235, 240.
240. I don't want no part of that.
I want no.
Don't ask me my weight.
He left you out of it, big fella. Left you out of it.
Hey, this is a light-skinned Zebo. I love it. An undrafted player that really is taking a chance at every opportunity to let everyone know they made a mistake by not picking him up, but just pure beaut, strength, and skill. I love
skill.
it.
That's the part that I think is people are glossing over. Is that skill?
Yes.
His skill's extremely high. And I'll say this. I don't know what his conditioning is, but I think if you look at different guys that have changed their body and become stronger, more physical, he can be a real problem.
Well, the Grizzlies, Desmond Bane and John Morant, you can see he was there at the game. They loved it. Look at the gift that they put up. I mean, come on, guys. This was the concern, though, coming in about Chet Holmgren. I know Jay Billis said, don't let his frame fool you. He is tough. And by the way, offensively, he was still getting buckets last night.
Yeah, no, you can't stop him from scoring. He's got the length. And again, when you compare him to Kevin Durant and that size and that length, if you're not right there, and we already know that's a gimme right there, anything around the bucket.
And I think his ability to make plays for his teammates.
Yeah.
I think that's an underrated skill of his, but you see him in the first game pulling up in transition at three, his ability to pretty much jump from almost the paint and block a three-point shot. And again, I'm not really worried about Lofton backing him down. As we were talking off air, there's probably 5 guys in the league that can do that, so it's not going to be an every night occurrence where people are just beating Chet up. I like Chet's odds in this game.
Well, he showed out through 2 games, right? Put up 23.6 blocks, 4 3-pointers in the first game against Utah, and then he had a double-double last night. Hey, do you think, Richard, he's going to get a triple-double with blocks at some point?
I think he should, because there's going to be teams that aren't intelligent enough to figure that out. But yeah, look, over an 82-game stretch, I think that those should be one of his goals. You shouldn't have a lot of individual goals as far as statistics, but if you want to be the type of presence, he should be like, I want to get double-digit blocks. No different than a guard is like, I want to get double-digit assists or steals or something along those lines.
Bringing in Mark Spears, our senior writer for Anscape. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Mark, what's your takeaway? Watching 2 games of him play, now we've seen a little bit of not quite NBA action, but NBA-adjacent action through Summer League.
Well, I did also get to spend some time with Chet during last season. He's an interesting cat from Minneapolis. Ate a lot of Jamaican food, has some swag to him with the diverse group he grew up with, and so you could kind of see that from him. But I asked him after the draft, what does the spacing in the NBA do for him? So I think offensively, it does a lot. It gives him the ability to get a shot off, and he could take it off the dribble, and it's not like college where they're like packing in the paint. So I think offensively, he's going to be scary. He's kind of like Dirk. You're not going to be able to stop him. KD, a tall guy shooting like that. The problem is what you saw with Lofton. Just when people are going to have to punish him on the other end.
Yeah.
In college, at times he had trouble getting in foul trouble. He's tougher than you think. He's a great rebounder. But again, I think when you see that Lofton film, that's going to be what people are going to use to try to abuse him on a defensive end.
But we were talking about it in the break, right? When you say things like, oh, well, can he guard Joel Embiid? Can he guard Nikola? Who can?
No one can. Shoot, I don't want to guard those dudes right now.
Right now, but in your prime, you'd be signing up?
Yeah, because in my prime, they had to guard me too. In my prime, they had to guard me too. But look, those guys are next level. I just look, when you look at him, there's very few guys that are built like Kenny Lofton Jr. There's Zion. There's very few guys that can do that. So if you're like, hey, there's about 10 to 12 guys that he might have trouble guarding, that's not a lot. That's not a lot.
But
they're
then
gonna have trouble on the other side.
But then also, exactly, sometimes your best defense is your offense. So they're going to have to try to figure out a way to guard him as well. So again, you know, as we said, there's a handful of guys in the league. Probably we can count on 2 hands that are going to be able to do that to anybody, and those guys can't be guarded by anybody, period. So again, I don't make too much of this situation. Obviously it doesn't look good, and the fact that he's frail and that was everyone was talking about is probably a talking point, but I wouldn't worry about that.
But that's what Summer League's about, right? It's sort of figuring out what your strengths are, how you're going to match up against some of these guys, and being able to use your strengths, like you mentioned, if it's his offense, whatever the case may be. Because again, after Summer League games, I'm always telling myself, just don't get too excited. Chill out.
I don't have to tell tell myself that.
I thought Nicholas remember Nicholas Skidishvili?
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was going to be a superstar after Summer League.
No, I never thought.
You learned that.
And Avery Johnson said, "Mark, that's Summer League."
That Summer League, don't like.
Well, that's the thing that I don't think that people understand. And Richard and I were talking about this on the way over. Unfortunately, about 90% or maybe more of these guys won't be on an NBA roster next year. So it's really hard to gauge the type of talent night in, night out in a Summer League game that you've seen these young, high draft picks play against, because the guys they're playing against won't necessarily be in the league, which is unfortunate next year.
The good sign is that this is a step higher than college, right? So this is better than college. So to see him come out here and play at this level, I think everyone knows he's a player, but it's good to kind of see that reaffirm, like, oh, he's going to block shots. Do whatever you want, big fella.
Did you button up one more button, though?
Oh, you know, it wasn't shirt. It wasn't shirting the way I wanted it to shirt. See, this thing was flopping, and, you know, it's Vegas.
Hey, when Matt Barnes was a rookie, he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Rocky Mountain Review, and they didn't have room for him on the bus. So the trainer, Max Benton, asked a rookie, Matt Barnes, if he could ride with me.
And did you give him a ride?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was going to say,
learned about his pops being from San Jose, too.
Yeah, I remember that,
Yeah, he didn't have room for him on the bus.
Really? 20 years ago.
It was 20 years ago.
Hey, Matt, you always will have a seat in our car as we ride over to the arena, even if we have to kick out Richard.
Yeah.
Always
All
have
I'm saying
a seat.
is Malika got me on a poster, and I'm forever indebted to you.
Okay. And not because you were posterized. Just to be very clear, that wasn't like posterizing me. That was a promotion for the show.